Everybody always asks me, how did your work get started in sports? Naturally, I guess everybody just thinks that you start your work with the Alabama Crimson Tide. You start your work with Kansas State football. You start your work mentoring players in the NFL. You start your work working with Super Bowl champions, NCAA champions like the North Dakota State Bison. That's just where it all begins, and it's easy. What if I told you your next great goals started with a simple word? Yes. Far too often, individuals reach out and they see the work that I do in sports. Gosh, I want to work with athletes. I want to work in sports. How do I get the chance to do that? I want to work with professional teams. I want to go to Alabama. And people think that it just happens because you say that you want it. It starts there. You have a vision, you paint that vision, you write it down on paper, those are your words, but it's your action that determines what happens with your story. And oftentimes it comes down to your willingness to say yes. My coaching and speaking work started in 2006. So I've been doing this almost 15 years. It didn't just happen overnight. But my work in sports didn't start until 2011, when my old high school basketball coach, Todd Basler, picked up the phone and called me. He was my old head coach at Ladue High School. And I was never the fastest guy, never the guy who could jump the highest. I could shoot the ball pretty darn good. Took a couple Division III recruiting trips. Played with 3 D1 guys, so didn't get to play all that much, but I was captain of the team because of my heart. And coach always remembered my heart. And even though there were times I'd get thrown out of practice for thinking I should have been playing more, we always had this amazing relationship. He's still one of the greatest mentors in my life today, along with his assistant coach, Coach Edward Johnson. And the two of them are actually characters in books I've written, Leave Your Legacy and Own Your Success. Those of you that have read the books, Coach Todd Edwards, those are my two coaches. Todd Basler, Edward Johnson, Todd Edwards. When you write fables, you get to make up the characters and utilize people who have impacted your life. So Coach Basler calls me in 2011. He had left Ladue as the head basketball coach to become an assistant where his daughter went to school so he could coach his daughter. Then he came back to Ladue as the assistant. The team was underperforming. And he picked up the phone and called me and he said, Benny boy, that's what he used to call me. Still calls me Benny boy. We're still so close. Benny boy, this team is underperforming. I need you to come and get them right. We're playing Parkway Central. That's one of our rival schools. They're number 10 in the city. Will you come fire these boys up before we cut it loose? I showed up that night to Parkway Central High School not knowing what to expect, not knowing how the kids would receive the message. I walked into that locker room and I cut it loose. I did my Al Pacino impersonation from Any Given Sunday. I related it to basketball instead of football. And I shared words with these young kids about embracing the opportunity, about attacking the process, about staying together and giving it their all, blood, sweat, and tears, just like Al Pacino imparted in Any Given Sunday. Gentlemen, football is like the game of life. It's about winning and it's about losing. It's about living and it's about dying. Sometimes you win an inch and sometimes you lose an inch, but it all comes down to inches. And in all great prize fights, it's the fighter who's willing to die for that inch that'll win. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I related it to basketball that night. I said basketball instead of football. But they got all fired up. And they went out and they knocked off Parkway Central. And we started to rebuild the culture of the team. I didn't get paid that night. I said yes to a man who had given so much to me in my life. I've gone back for 9 straight seasons at my high school. Coach Anderson, the head coach, has now become a dear, dear friend of mine. He always makes me do that Al Pacino. I don't think it's all that good, but he loves it and always gets the kids right. We've taught the kids to not worry about wins and losses, but to focus on one play at a time, one possession at a time, giving it your all on offense and defense. High school basketball games are 32 minutes. We go 32 minutes of hell. The results have been pretty good. 2011 was that first year. 2012, the kids signed this basketball for me after the 2013 season. 2012, they won a conference championship, first time in 10 years. Then in 2013, they won another. Since then, they've won a handful of district championships. Kids have gone on to play D1 because they embrace the mindset of giving it their best, staying focused on what they can control. I said yes to an opportunity that didn't pay me anything. The reward was the greatest payment you could ever receive, and that's to make a difference in somebody's life. So, how did this all happen in sports? North Dakota State to Kansas State with Coach Kleiman now, loving all those players. Alabama, first player I ever mentored in the NFL, Will Compton. That's the first ever game ball that Will Compton received in the pros. He was an undrafted free agent, 7th out of 7 on the depth chart when he headed to Washington as an undrafted free agent his rookie year. What does that mean, undrafted, 7 out of 7? Basically, they're going to use your body, spit you out, and send you home. He's now in his 8th year in the NFL. He gave me that game ball when they played in his first ever playoff game against the Green Bay Packers when I flew there for the game. That was sitting in my hotel room. Those of you who know me well, you know I cry at Extreme Home Makeovers. I cry at anything. I cried like a baby when he gave that to me. And I told him, I said, this is a gift that I will hold on to, but it's coming back to you when you have your first child. Because I can't accept this. I can only hold it for you. You see, that's what life is all about. It's about saying yes. It's about focusing on the relationships. And it's about doing things the right way. Connecting to somebody's heart. Understanding how they think. And then helping them drive consistent action. That's how all of this has happened. One mindset for me, and I teach it all the time, I've probably shared it in videos that you've watched. Standard over feelings. Don't allow your feelings to dictate how you show up. It doesn't matter what field or stage I've had the opportunity to step on. Partying with the New England Patriots on the field when they won the Super Bowl when I was mentoring one of their players, and several players had used the mental toughness playbook that year. Having the opportunity to be with my dear friend and my brother Tyron Woodley when he won the UFC welterweight champion of the world when he knocked out Robbie Lawler. 1 minute and 12 seconds into the first round in Atlanta, Georgia, July 30th, 2016. I'll never forget it. All of these things happen because you stay committed to doing the work every single day. You're never seduced by success. So your next great big goal might just come by the opportunity to just say yes. Don't focus on the money. Focus on doing the right thing. Focus on the relationships, connecting to somebody's heart, making a difference. Think big. Get after it every single day as you attack the process. Don't ever forget that everything you need is already in you. And keep writing your story every damn day.